Hi there, I'm Paul Mitchell, leadership coach, author and founder of The Human Enterprise. You've been around in business for a while. You probably know what an IPO is, which is where they float a company. It's called an initial public offering. Well, today I want to give you a different version of what an IPO is and how, if you have an IPO, it'll help you enormously to achieve both your personal and your professional goals. Let's have a look at what typically happens when people set goals. They don't have an IPO, they have an OPI. What do we mean by that? They start with, well, what's the goal going to be? So what's my outcome? And then they have a look at, well, what have I got to do to achieve that outcome? That's the process. And then as a result of that, who will I end up being? So for example, if you wanted to get healthy, you might start with an outcome around your health. It might be to get your blood pressure down, for example. So then you might put a process in place regarding what you might be eating, your exercise regime, and as a result, your identity changes to someone who's who's very, very healthy. Let's flip that. Let's turn it around to an IPO. This is based on the work of a researcher and author called James Clear, who wrote a great little book and really suggests you get it, called Atomic Habits. What he says is the quickest way, not always the quickest way, but one of the most leveraged ways, the easiest ways, the way with least effort, is to start with your identity. So for him, it's not an OPI, it's an IPO. Number one, start to think about, if this is a goal I have in mind, what's my identity? Let's just take the goal of being a better leader. Rather than having a daily to-do list, what is your daily to-be list? Who do I need to be today? Well, I need to be much more compassionate. I've been a little bit grumpy. I've been a little bit off-putting. That's what I need to be. So you start thinking of yourself as a compassionate person. In other words, you take on this new identity. And then you think about, okay, so what do I need to do? What's the process of being more compassionate? Well, I maybe need to listen more. I need to ask a few more questions. I need to cut people a bit of slack. And as a result of that, what will my outcome be? Well, my outcome will be I'll be much more connected to people. They'll be much more engaged. We'll be much more collaborative. It'll just be a better relationship all around. But notice you didn't start with, I want to have better relationships. I want to be more connected. No. You started with who you needed to be. Your identity, followed by the process, which gives you a clear outcome. That's very, very different than the way we often think about goal setting or go about reaching either our personal or our professional goals. Here's an example of that in my own personal life. I play golf, and lately I haven't been flexible enough to bend over easily and pick up my golf ball out of the hole. I'd like to pick it up a lot more often than I do, because it means my golf score would be better. So I needed to get a bit more flexibility. What are the steps then? Number one, keep telling myself I'm a flexible golfer, or at least a flexible human being. That's the identity part. Get clear on who I want to be, not what I want to do to start with. Number two, put a process in place. In fact, I've actually been doing a program of a morning called metabolic stretching. So I've now got a process. And thirdly, well, remember that I've got an outcome here, which is to be able to easily bend down and pick the golf ball out of the hole. Very, very simple thing. And yet again, it's something that will really make a massive difference in your goal achievement. Start with your identity, then add process, and then add outcome. Very, very different from what we've often been taught, with start with the end in mind. So, a bit of a provocation, try it on, see how you go. Would love to hear about your successes. I'm Paul Mitchell. Find the passion, develop the skills, make the numbers, and make a difference. Thanks for watching. I hope you got some great tractionable ideas or takeaways from that video. I'd like to now introduce you to our latest program, Basecamp Leadership Essentials, real skills for future leaders. And it really is very much a skills-based program. It's a one-day program, and it's for leaders who are up and coming that may not even be in leadership roles yet, or leaders who've been newly appointed, or even for leaders who've possibly been in their role for a couple of years and need a bit of a turbo boost. Two big aspects of the program. One is, what is the leadership mindset required for growth to take people to the next level and the leader themselves to the next level? And the second component, as I said before, the real specific skill bases that are required. So if you believe that great culture is important in your business, and great culture comes from great leadership, and great leadership comes from leadership at every level, we'd love you to think about Basecamp. Please go to basecampleadership.com.au and explore the possibility of bringing the program to your organisation. We look forward to partnering with you.